question for Coach. Who would like to have it? We're going to go Coach to the right side, fourth row, right in the middle.
Okay.
Hey Coach, Jordan Silversmith, SB Nation. I just want to know, it's been 10 years since you've been a head coach in college football. Besides everything, what's been the biggest adjustment for you, and what do you have to kind of grow as a coach this time around?
Yeah, it has been 10 years since I've been a head coach, but in college. But I did have that experience at Alabama, and that meant a lot to me. And I was able to learn a ton in that program, obviously from Coach Saban, and so I think that has helped me relative to the landscape of college football now, entering this time in my career at Boston College. Look, I think the big thing is it comes down to, and you'll see this when these guys come up here. We have great guys. They care about Boston College. They go to class. They practice hard. They lift weights hard. They do things the right way, and I think that is something that's never changed relative to the places I've been at. But when you talk about the landscape of NIL and transfer portal and all those different things, yeah, those things have changed. We were able to retain our whole team after spring practice, so we feel really good about that, being able to develop these guys and continue to build the culture that we want to build. And then NIL, Boston College will be a part of the NIL program relative to college football. And look, we're looking forward to the season, and we've had a really good summer and can't wait to get started with training camp.
Coach, right side, first row.
Coach, Mike Galtieri, LightsCameraSports.com. Coach, you're taking over a 7-6 team, so not exactly a 2-10 team.
Right.
It's a pretty good situation.
Yep.
Has there been something you've been pleasantly surprised with the last 3 months? And does that give you confidence that BC can win the ACC?
Yeah, I get asked that question a lot. What has surprised me, things like that. I wouldn't say that anything surprised me. I love coaching the team. I love working with the players. You'll see 3 of them here today after I'm up here. Really enjoy the team. These guys, like I said earlier, they show up on time. They buy into what we're trying to get done relative to offense, defense, and special teams. I really like the staff. I've enjoyed working with the people at Boston College, from Father Leahy to Father Jack Butler to Reggie Terry to everybody involved on the outside of the program at the university. So it's nothing really that surprised me. It's been a job that I've loved to come to work to every single day.
Coach, your next 3 questions will come from the left side. We'll start first row right in front of you.
Coach, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Boston College obviously has had a connection recruiting-wise with upstate New York. And coming from Syracuse, New York, I know that over the years there's been a lot of talent that's come through there, and I know that you've continued that bridge. What do you see in the state of New York and in upstate New York, those diamonds in the rough that maybe some other people don't see?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we try to do is, basically draw a 400-mile circle around Boston College, and we have to get the majority of our roster from that area where parents can drive to watch their sons play. Kids have grown up understanding what Boston College is all about. Doesn't mean we won't recruit other areas like down south or out west or in Texas. If there's a connection to Boston College, we'll certainly do that. But our experience, especially now with Doug Marrone on the staff, who was the head coach at Syracuse, was the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, that really helps. We have guys like Savon Huggins that have a real connection to North Jersey, New York City, which is really, really helpful to us. So look, we got a long way to go. We just started out recruiting here. We got hired in February. I think we're on the right track, but we definitely want to recruit those areas, especially that area, New York, and other areas, New England, North Jersey, all those areas that I think have in the past been a decent pipeline to Boston College.
Again, Coach, staying on the left, second row.
Mary Dutchman, the Players Lounge. How are you today?
Hi, good. How are you?
So, Boston native to Boston native, I have to know what the red bandana game means to you stepping into this new role as a head coach.
Yeah, the red bandana game is something that I have not experienced as a coach, obviously, but have heard a lot about and have seen the game on TV and what it means. Let's just start with the Crowther family, with Wells Crowther. What he did on 9/11 was something that you can't even put words to it. He's a hero. He's a hero in the sense that he saved so many lives, and he did it while wearing a red bandana that he wore as a lacrosse player at Boston College. So it's a game that means a lot to the people at BC, the alums of BC, but also means a lot to people all around the world. And so I think it's a game where we'll play Michigan State this year. Our guys understand the meaning of the game. These guys have played in the game before, so they really understand it. It'll be my first experience coaching in the game, but it's a very special game and a very special memory of Wells Crowther that we memorialized for that game.
Stay there on the same row, Coach, to her right, our left.
Yep.
I'm Katrina Sacken for Sports and Culture Media. Coach, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Having coached in the NFL and under some prominent college coaches, what did you take away from those experiences that you want to implement into those head coach strategies for your team this season?
Yeah, I've been, I've been fortunate. I've had the ability, or the opportunity, to work with a number of great coaches. And everybody, obviously talks about Bill Belichick and Nick Saban, and two of the greatest of all time to ever do it. But I also worked for George O'Leary when I was at Georgia Tech, Ralph Friedgen when I was at the University of Maryland, learned a ton from them. I've been really fortunate to work with a lot of great players, some of the best players to ever play the game, and I've learned a lot from them. And I think what I try to do with these guys here at Boston College, and I've already learned a lot from the guys that are sitting right here in front of you, is I try to impart some of my experiences, my wisdom. I've been doing this for 32 years, on these guys, and hopefully that's a role that I can play on this team that can help this team get better every day, because I've had a lot of great experiences. I've learned a lot, and we're doing it in our way at Boston College, but a lot of that has to do with what we've learned over the course of time, my staff, myself, and I think these guys are doing a great job of trying to do what we're asking them to do.
Coach, follow the middle aisle up to the left, the gentleman in the black shirt and glasses.
Yep.
Right in the back.
Yes, sir.
Coach Ralph Amsden, College Football Apostles, welcome back to the ACC.
Thank you.
The question I have for you, pre-Deshaun Watson as a head coach, your team's averaged about 30 yards rushing a season from the quarterback position. With Deshaun, that goes up to about 215 a season. We have a guy in Thomas Castellanos who he rushed for about 100 yards a game last year. What kind of adjustment is that going to be for you as a head coach, or would you like to see him maybe run a little bit less?
No, I think, look, one of the things about Tommy is, he's not just a runner. And he's a guy that has really improved a lot in the 6 months that we've been around him, as a passer. And so this is something that we've worked very hard on with him. He's worked extremely hard to get better. Look, we're never going to try to rein in Tommy. Tommy brings a lot to our offense. He's a very dynamic player. He's a guy that can make a lot of off-schedule plays. You mentioned, some of the guys that I've had in the past, Deshaun Watson, guys that could run a little bit. We've had, when I was at Georgia Tech and I was coaching there, we had a guy named Joe Hamilton that a lot of you in the crowd will remember him. Guys that had the combination of being able to run and throw the ball effectively. That's what Tommy does. So, but I don't want to put any labels on him. He's a quarterback, and he's a really good quarterback, and he's our quarterback, and we're really excited to start training camp and continue to improve.
Coach, from the podium, given your history in this conference, what does accomplished greatness mean to you?
Accomplished greatness means, over time, relative to the ACC, this conference has always been associated with greatness. Whether it was national championship football teams, top bowl game participant football teams relative to where I've been. I was at Georgia Tech, I was at Maryland when Maryland was in the ACC, won a lot of games at those places. There's a great history in this conference, a great history of coaches. Some of the greatest coaches to ever coach college football coached in this league, and some of the greatest players to ever play college football played in this league. So that's what greatness means to me, and I think that this year we have a great group of teams, great players, great coaches. I've sat in on a couple ACC coaches meetings. The coaching in this league is very impressive, and I think it's going to be a great year for the ACC.
To your left, third row.
Hey Coach, Tony Syracuse from Last Word on Sports. Because you've been in the pros and you've been in college, you've had a lot of experience, but the game is evolving, or the system really is evolving every year. How hard is it to get used to things like the transfer portal and roster management? And I saw as of yesterday with the House settlement, they've now upped the number of scholarships to 100 rosters to 105. How hard is it to make these kinds of adjustments?
I think that's what coaching's all about. Look, one thing, I said this outside in another interview I was in, when I was the head coach at Penn State, we dealt with the transfer portal right there, right? When the sanctions came out 12 years ago at Penn State, any guy on our team could transfer. We did have some guys transfer, but the majority of our team stuck together because they knew that they were going to be coached very well and they knew that they would have a chance to win. And to me, like, that's really what it's all about, the connection between the coach and the players, the assistant coaches, the head coach, the strength coach, and the players, so that the players have a trust, have a belief that you're going to do right by them. And I think that's really what coaching is all about. And coaching is also all about being able to adapt. You know, one thing, and the guys that I've worked for is, you know, Nick Saban would say it all the time, Bill Belichick would say it all the time. You've got to adapt. If you don't adapt, then the game's going to pass you by. So I think we're doing a good job of that at BC. You know, we're adapting to the changing times. We have a lot of great people in the administration that are helping with that. Obviously, Blake James, our athletic director, but you know, we're very adaptable, and I think we're on the right track.
Coach, thank you for the time. You can switch places with your quarterback, Thomas.
Great,
If
thank
you
you.
would, please.